I should be like you, Mel.
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are watching us. And of course, it is a brand new week of Cherry AM here at Up the Cherries in all departments. I'll tell you what, do us a favour, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell button. If you're new, if you're not subscribed as yet, we are very, very close to 2,000. And of course, another challenge. I don't know if you ever saw it, Sean, when I ate the chili. Like it was the high loss sauce that I ate a couple of years back for hitting the 1,000 mark.
I think I heard about it, but I haven't seen it. I'll have to search for that.
It is on the channel. It's yeah, I think it nearly killed me. It was it was painful. I think it's Matt's turn to do something. We're devising a plan.
End of season punishment.
No. As soon as we hit the 2K, that's it. You know, we have the challenge, and then it comes back to me, I guess, with the 3K. Unless you want to do something, Sean.
I do like spicy stuff, but usually has a bad effect on me, so we'll see.
You know, these challenges have got to be challenging. But I tell you what, let's jump into the comments. And firstly, Paul Sant was the first one in. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Paul. Hope you're doing well. Darren Hurst, good morning to Paul, Craig and Sean. Good morning, Darren, and fantastic work on your show with Malcolm last week. I can't wait to see what you do next. So
good show.
Keep watching, and I'm sure you will be back on very, very soon. Malcolm Chiverton, good morning, Cherries fans around the world. Good morning, Malcolm.
Morning.
Hope you're doing well. Darren said good morning to Malcolm. Paul from Oz is in the house. Morning, everyone. 20 degrees and sunny here in Oz. It's 5 p.m. See, this is the sort of weather that I expect in Australia. Not bloody, pouring down with rain and, miserable. I expect it to be sunny, beautiful, hot, having barbecues in the middle of, well, it's not October yet, but in the middle of October. Halloween barbecue.
Yeah, it's not quite 20 degrees here.
No, it's not really. It's not as miserable as it was yesterday morning, though, where it absolutely chucked it down. So yeah, we had a little bit of a storm yesterday, to be fair, and yeah, it did chuck it down, but it ended as quickly as it started, really. Malcolm said, "Good day, Daz. Good day." I sounded a bit like Will from the In-Betweeners. You know, when he goes into, I don't know, has anybody seen the In-Betweeners? Have you seen the In-Betweeners, Sean?
No, I've heard of it. I might glimpse through it, but I've not actually properly watched it at all.
Oh, well, you've got to. You've got to. When he, goes, I think it's episode 2 of the first series, when he goes into the off license. Of course, he's playing, somebody who is underage. and he goes in trying to buy alcohol. That's brilliant. It really is funny. Good day, sir. I'd like some alcohol. I've just bought a new house and all this. Yeah, yeah. We always say at one point, good morning to Liam Humby. How you doing, Liam? He says, good morning, Cherries fans. And good morning to Chris Hubble. Great to see you on Cherry Slaps the other day. Hope you are doing well, mate. And Oliver Barron, good morning, Oliver. Hope you are doing well and
Morning.
glad to see you here. Um, Chris has said good morning to Craig and Sean. Good morning, Chris.
Morning.
Darren said, tell me when you are at 1,999 and I will subscribe just to see Matt suffer on some insane challenge. You know what? I have got some ideas in mind. Now, Matt, does like Queen. The band Queen. I think everybody likes
Yeah.
Queen, to be honest. So one of the ideas is to get Matt to sing Bohemian Rhapsody all the way through, dressed as Freddie Mercury, and then put it on the channel. That's an idea. It would be funny. It would be
Yeah,
funny.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, I don't know what Matt's singing's like, but we'll all find out. And Paul from Oz says, we're headed into spring here, Craig. Strange extension of the contract for Tavernier. Only 1 year. Yeah, we will come into that. I tell you what, that was probably a place to start, actually. So Marcus Tavernier is now contracted up to 2029. But of course, like said there, it is a shorter extension. So he was under, a contract which would lead him up to 2028. But the contract has been extended another year. I I'll give my thoughts, but what do you think on this?
Yeah, it's not that unusual really for a year extension when he's already um, had a couple of years originally on it and maybe the club's thinking the next year they might sell
Mm,
him. Obviously, the longer contract on the player, same as Semenyo, um, the more money you're going to get for the player. I know there was some interest from other clubs for Tavernier.
yeah.
Um, Obviously, he does have that injury in him. He's done fairly well so far, but
hmm
obviously he has had that injury history in there. Um, but I'd just be glad for him and that. And yeah, he's a quality player in that, and he's had some beautiful goals in that with us and that. So yeah, all good news and that really. Can't see any negative from it, that's for sure.
Definitely. Darren Hurst said he signed 4 years. Yeah, so of course till 2029. I did think though, and do tell me if I'm wrong, I did think he was under contract for a couple of more years, which I think is why Paul said there, only 1 year extension. I think that this is a money situation. He's got a significant increase on his wages. Maybe he was a little bit behind the rest of the teams. You look at Semenyo, he signed a new contract recently, maybe. And I know that Marcus Tavernier and Antoine Semenyo are very, very good friends. Maybe there was some view that they wanted a bit of parity, a bit of like equality in how much they were getting paid, or I'm not sure. I'm probably jumping to conclusions here, but I'm guessing, you know it's a great chance to have an extension for a very, very good player, you know but also secondly, I do think that um there's probably something financial um
Yeah.
there. But yeah, let me just go back to the comments. Paul from Oz said, like Tav, but he needs to score more goals this season. Do you know one thing that really is great about Marcus Tavernier, but also really annoying? Is Marcus Tavernier? he can only score really good goals. He doesn't score basic goals. Basic goals he misses.
Yeah,
Goals where you think, "Wow, he's going to bury this." Um, you know, a goal from 25 yards out, screamer into the top corner. He'll get those all day. But for some reason he just doesn't score basic goals, and it's great to have that sort of player. We always love a bit of that, where somebody comes out and pulls something out the woodwork. But I think maybe he needs to take more of his opportunities that come to him, where from easier positions. And Paul seems to agree with me, from Oz.
yeah. I
Do you
mean,
agree with that?
Andoni's moved him. Obviously, Andoni's moved him more in the
Mm,
10 role behind the striker
yeah.
role in that. So he's certainly in, I think, a better position to get more goals. So
Hmm.
um, I say the further you go forward, the closer you are to the striker or being striker, the more goals is expected from you. So yeah, if he's been moved there, then yeah, the pressure's a bit more on him than maybe previous seasons.
But also, when Justin Kluivert is back, and Justin Kluivert was on the bench for the Netherlands the other day, do we think that, effectively he will get pushed back into his previous position, or even maybe lose his place in the side? I don't think you could take him out the side at the moment, even when Kluivert is fit. But you don't really want to change a side that played so well against Spurs, played so well, against, well, got the result at Wolves, and played really well at Liverpool, albeit we was up against Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't see how. I mean, with the obviously got Semenyo and Brooks has brilliantly stepped up on the wing. With the new signings, they wouldn't have been just made for no particular reason. They certainly would be challenging there and that. So I
Hmm.
don't see him being pushed um, to the wing, and then up front where it's him or Clivert, and whilst we're playing well and getting results, you don't
Hmm.
change the team. So
Agree.
yeah, I think he'll stay there. But yeah, it'll be good squad rotation, and that's maybe last season. The depth is where we struggled, though we did well when we struggled as well. Um, but yeah, we've got the depth from that, so it's good to rotate the two of them. Um, Hopefully, we can do further in the FA Cup, and then it gives easier for squad rotation as well.
100%. Malcolm said it's a good start with 4 goals in 3 games. Goals will be spread around amongst the players. Yeah, they definitely will do. Paul from Oz said Tav 5 goals in 23 games last season. Is that good? Is that too little? I think there's a lot of contributions in there as well. It'd be quite good to see the assists as well on there.
Mm.
I'm just going to go back to some more generic comments. Sorry, Dan, I missed your comment here out, but we'll come back to it now. Just wanted to cover off Tavernier. Morning, Craig and Sean. How was your weekend? It wasn't the most exciting, to be honest. Just come back from Cornwall, so yeah, very very chilled out. Getting stuff done, I guess. And yeah, that was probably a bit all there was to it. I played a bit of Gran Turismo. I don't know if you've ever played that game, Sean.
On occasion, but my one was Grand Theft Auto. I used
Was
to
it?
buy that
Oh,
constantly.
fair enough. Fair enough. To be honest, I'm not a big gamer, to be fair. I'm probably more stuck in the 90s, like the era of Sonic, and, what else was there? Toe Jam and Earl and Rystar and things like that. That was my era, not,
I'll show
but
you,
they're just
show you
too in
something.
depth.
See if you recognise. I've still got. Yeah, Stephen
Here we
Jones.
go.
Oh, if you
Oh,
recognise.
look at that. And it's an original.
Yeah. So,
It's an original as well. I have got one, but I've got the mini version. And
oh,
yeah, you can hack them and then basically put on whatever games you want, but they don't sell them no more, which is a real shame. Probably because they were so easy to hack, and everybody, instead of going to use their Switch service, which I haven't got no time for Switch, modern games are just too in depth. Instead of using their Switch service, everybody started hacking those things, so they got rid of them and stopped them. But there we are. Paul has said, get Matt to do a charity calendar. What, create a calendar?
What kind of calendar are we on about here?
Oh, geez, no. Nobody wants to see that. We'll lose 2,000 subscribers for that. I'm only joking, Matt. I'm only joking, mate. But yeah, maybe
I'm gonna keep linking with this. It was on about shower, and then there was something else, and now on about calendars. I'm gonna keep keeping this links going.
Matt is the new Neil Buchanan. I don't know if you ever saw Art Attack years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Neil Buchanan. He used to do those great big murals, didn't he, in the sand or on the park or wherever. I thought it was really good. There was something a bit dodgy about it. There was something. He got a bit of help from somebody. But there we are. Let's move very quickly on from Art Attack and PlayStations, Xboxes, SNESes, Mega Drives, whatever. I'll tell you what, let's discuss this very briefly. But England versus Andorra. Did you watch it? Was you bored?
No, to be honest, I didn't watch it. I wasn't interested too. I watched. Say on the Sunday, watched the ladies, which that's the only thing. I was just going to say, you're saying with the weather, the last two games been two with the ladies. It's been windy. We managed to avoid the rain yesterday. It did try to drizzle a couple of times, but yeah, managed to avoid any heavy rain. But yeah, the England game. Yeah, I was thinking about watching it, but I just couldn't be bothered.
I was looking at some statistics off the back of it. It was like pulling teeth. It was that boring. It was terrible. Thomas Tuchel is not going to win a single thing for England. I do not know why we have appointed the man. I thought it was a terrible appointment to start off with. He's clearly not going to be a winner for England. At this moment in time, we got a 1-0 win against Andorra, which, to be honest, we're bloody lucky in and then, we took them to Villa Park and beat them 2-0 in what was a dull game. And you think Andorra, they're not exactly a very good, you don't think, whoa, that's a big footballing nation, that one. It was, like Paul says here, it was a crap match. England should be beating them by 5 or 6. 100%, but it was like nobody really cared. I don't, it was terrible. And do you know what? If they gave tickets away for a fiver to watch England versus Andorra, or San Marino's another good one, or Gibraltar, or Liechtenstein, or wherever, I would not pay the fiver. I would actually spend the fiver on a couple of Mars bars, I think. It's honestly, mate, it was just terrible. There was one man for that job. They absolutely screwed it, and that was Eddie Howe. And the FA went for the cheap option. To be honest, the only time they haven't gone for the cheap option more recently is when they brought in Sven-Göran Eriksson. And I thought Sven got a bit of a bad rap because, of course, the first international manager sadly passed away last year. But he was a man who had been there, done that, got the T-shirt. He knew a bit about the game. A bit about the England team, and he come over here, and I think Sven was very, very unlucky. Not if we had beaten Brazil in 2002, I think we would have won that World Cup.
Yeah, with him, we always qualified. It was always a semi-finals we'd get to, wasn't it? I remember.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, I think what happened after he left and that, we wasn't one season, we didn't even qualify for
Oh,
World Cup or things.
McLaren.
So it
McLaren
went
and
downhill very quick.
who's the Italian guy?
I don't know. I'm not good with
Fabio
names.
Capello. Fabio Capello. You know, I didn't rate him. I didn't rate him when he come in, and I don't rate Tuchel when he's come in. You know, I know some people, I know some England fans say, "Oh, you know, it's because he's German." It's nothing to do with, you know, he's German or whatever. It is just I don't think he's the right man for the job. I think the man was Eddie Howe. Darren has put here, I noticed that same supporters as World Cup games got on the pitch again. They got him after the game and asked his name, Harry Kane. To be honest, he, you know, yeah, it was just so dull. Um, put on the 6 minute highlights, stopped it after 4 minutes. Awful, can't feel Wembley anymore. They're in trouble if they get Spain in a World Cup. To be honest, Spain will probably go far in the World Cup. We probably won't even get to play them because we'll probably get knocked out by Mexico or something like that. You know, based on what we've seen at the moment, we've only got a year, well, less than a year to go, and I can't see them getting anywhere. Whereas this side that is actually the team, this is what's annoying me. The actual England team, you know, and the players we've got in the England setup, you know, the likes of Jude Bellingham and players like that. Anthony Gordon, I think, is, you know, a bit underrated. You know, I think Jack Grealish will be back in there. I think he's underrated. I think, you know, there's plenty of quality that we could go far. We could compete to win it. You know, Cole Palmer, you know, we could compete to win that World Cup. And what have we done? We have appointed a blithering idiot as manager. Whereas we could have got Eddie Howe. And, you know, if the FA had put their hand in their pocket a little bit more, we probably would have done. Right, I tell you what, let's move away from England because I think everybody's either going for a coffee break. You know, we've seen a little dip in the number of viewers. So I do apologise. I hope you'll come back and forgive me for talking about
Eddie might end up being in charge one day. Hopefully he will.
exactly. In fact, I would. I wouldn't. I think, to be honest, I'd probably do a better job than what Thomas Tuchel is. The hot weather in the USA will put pay to any chance of us winning it. Yeah, but you know, honestly, I tell you what, we could host it in Norway, and we still wouldn't win it. We still wouldn't win it, especially with that manager. Especially with that manager, you got to think. You know, Jude Bellingham. You know, currently plays in Spain. You know, the players are playing abroad a little bit more now, where as opposed to, you know, years ago when they were all Premier League based. It shouldn't be unusual for them, but it's going to be unusual for this manager because I just don't think Thomas Tuchel is very good. Right, moving swiftly on, you know, before we lose any more viewers, let's talk about Bournemouth ladies, and of course the result yesterday, and also it'd be quite interesting to get a little bit of feedback on something that you got the other day.
Yeah, basically, I was trying to find out the history of Bournemouth ladies. There's the Wikipedia, and in there it says established 1992, but it said early early history started in 2003. So finding the history is extremely hard. I messaged the club to see if they could give me a bit more information. They got a historian, which I didn't even know that.
I didn't see that.
He responded to me, and the basics of it is there was several unofficial Bournemouth teams in existence since the later part of the 20th century. So that's probably why Wikipedia has that date. And obviously with the early history, they got 2003 and then folded in 2009. And it was that particular team that reformed, and they was called Bournemouth Ladies FC, and they reformed with the help of AFC Bournemouth, and in 2012 they was officially AFC Bournemouth Ladies. So yeah, and I found that a lot with a lot of different clubs. There's a lot of different bits of history. I've been putting posts up. What I try to do on a Saturday night usually is when we play our opposition, give a little brief history. And I always say, if anyone knows different facts to me or that, then please comment, please let me know. Because, say, finding information on any ladies' team is not the easiest of things.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it's interesting in that. And it's good when we've got some links and different things. It's, for example, the next game we play in, I thought was Cardiff FC, which was the same team that we lost to last in the league back in 2023. But when I went on the club website, it didn't say Cardiff FC, and I've quickly looked, and it's Gwalior Town, which actually is Cardiff FC. They changed their name last year, so along with Cardiff FC used to play at the Cardiff International Sports Stadium, but on the Bournemouth side, it's saying Gwalior Town plays at the Ocean Park Arena. So yeah, even finding the grounds can be very tricky on finding women's teams. So yeah, but that's the gist of it. But if anybody wants to have a look at the email I sent back, I put on the Facebook group. So have a good read of that.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And I found it very, very interesting as well. Like the formation, how everything changed. It's a very, and it's good. The women's game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Um, you know, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get into a position where, in a couple of years' time, we can compete right at the very top of the women's game. So yeah, it's very positive. I've never heard of Gwalior FC, in all honesty. But yes.
Yeah, I think it's just a homage. I mean, means Welsh or something like that. So it's a
I wouldn't
homage
even know
to.
how to spell it. Is it Gwalior United?
I'll write it down. Gwalia Town.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, so yeah, it'll be very good, and I say that'll be a. I know technically we lost to Cardiff City in that, but it's the same team anyway. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, this will be a bit of a revenge game next week.
Exactly. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can beat them. Matt Harrison is in the house. Hope you're doing well, Matt. We're edging towards that 2K. Get your microphone out. You're singing. He said Neil Boucher is the historian, and Malcolm says good morning, Matt, and as does Paul. He says good morning to Matt as well. So yes, that is a bit of an update. What was the score yesterday?
2-0. Hold on, put it. So Sophie Quirk. I've never Quirk. I'm sure that's her.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sophie. She scored 2 goals, got a brace, and we won 2-0. Yeah, it was a really good game. A little bit windy, not as bad as the Exeter with the wind. But yeah, it was a good game. Shout out to Kenny Thompson as well. I say on the wings, they're doing really good. That's like with Sophie, you can tell she's a completely different level.
Yeah.
Later on, there should have been a third goal for us. Jessica Hensey, she done a brilliant header, but it was chalked off. Apparently, I think I saw the ref do like a elbow movement. No one could see the issue in that. Again, I put the video for all the goals on the Facebook group. So if you can see why the third goal was chalked off, then you got good eyesight because no one else could see it beside the ref. They did do a quick counter because of that. Luckily, they didn't score. But yeah, so we won 2-0. Obviously, that was cup competition.
Yeah.
Ascot won against Bournemouth Sports 4-0, I believe, which means that Ascot's on 4 points, Bournemouth Sports 0. Obviously, we got 6 points. Obviously, there's 4 teams in our little mini league and that. So when we play Ascot, I believe is on the 28th. We've
Yeah.
got to win or draw to definitely get to the knockout round. The 10 best runner-ups also get through, but if we want to definitely make sure we get to the knockout stage, we need a win or draw against Ascot now.
Was Marcos there to support Mrs. Senesi?
I didn't see him there. Yeah, it might have been, but yeah, I don't think I noticed him there.
He's probably disguised himself now. Put on some sunglasses, put on a hat,
He
you know.
wasn't on international duty or anything like that, was he? 'Cause he has been called
No.
up to international duty before, so.
Yes. Yeah, I don't believe he has this time. Let's be honest, there is an abundance of Argentine talent at the moment, but I don't think he's miles away. But I think there's just Argentina are probably the strongest, and they've been for a long, long, long time. Probably since dare we say it, dare we swear on this channel, Diego Maradona, team, of course, hand of God. We are back up to normal viewing levels. Thank you, everybody, for rejoining us after talking about England. I know you was bored the other day, and it probably bored everybody. I shall not speak about England again. Chris Hubble said, "Have a great day, everyone." Have a good day, Chris. Malcolm said, "You too, Chris," and Chris has responded as well. Just
Yeah,
want to touch.
I was just gonna say with the women and that, you can definitely start seeing the level increasing with it. They are getting a lot more shots, a lot more chances. It was a confident 2-0 win, but it was a hard 4-2-0 win. And I say a lot of people would think the women's teams are full time or stuff like that. But even Bournemouth ladies, AFC Bournemouth ladies, semi professional, the Premier League, the top league, they're all professional. I've heard, I don't know if it's true, so don't quote me on this, but this would be the first season that all the championship teams are full time. So I say the women's football is progressing and it is getting better. You can see the quality now and it's going down the leagues and that. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting time to watch the women. So please do come on down to watch them because, as I say, especially with it's free as well. So people will say, "Oh, we can't watch football because we ain't got the money." Just come on down to Ringwood whilst it's free because I hope it stays free, but I don't think it will stay, especially if we get promotion again.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get promotion, and hopefully Bill Foley will say, "Yeah, keep getting people in for free." I do want to touch on 2 players, and they actually joined at the same time. And this first one is a bit of a weird one. We'll come on to somebody who, actually played for his international side and how they got on. But Zayn Silcott Duberry is in advanced talks with Olympiakos and, of course, Marinakis. Ugh, hate that bloke. Over a permanent move. This is weird for me because he seems to have shown so much talent. When he first joined AFC Bournemouth, he does look like an exciting player. He is seen, and the last word on sports has actually said that he is one of the Premier League's best talents. He's not made it here. I don't understand it. And, it looks like he's on his way to the Greek top flight. Um, what's your view on Zayn Silcott Dewberry
Yeah,
potentially
it's just
leaving the
all.
club?
Oh, it is a permanent move they're on about. It's not a loan, is
It
it?
is, yeah, it's a permanent move. See, this is what I don't understand, is because I think, he is an exciting player. He's a player in a position where we do have, quite a few, players already. So I think, actually getting through and breaking into the first team is always going to be quite difficult for him. But at the same time, it just doesn't kind of make sense. I don't
Yeah,
know. Is there been a fallout with Andoni Iraola? Has he not really shown, what he can do? Is he not?
yeah. It is a very confusing one, but at the same time, we are a club that's run financially very well, and that maybe he didn't perform well enough in the training sessions. Maybe they just thought they can make a quick buck on him, basically.
Mm,
Um, which I say we are a very financially well-run club, and if you've got a player and you know you can make a quick buck on him, then yeah, of course you're going to go and do that. Or I say, it might be in thought that he had the potential, but they just don't see him being able to break in that team, and rather than waste time of keep spending the money on the training, because at the end of the day, it still costs to train him, and that
yeah.
it's easier to just make the money quick, and that's the only thing I can really make sense. But the only other thing is the player himself. Maybe he's been told that he's going to struggle getting in the team and stuff like that, and um, like Dango and that, he's pushed for saying, "I'm not going to get in the first team by the looks of it. I want to play every week, so
Mm,
sell me on." Obviously, when he came here, maybe he thought, "Oh, I'd get in the team and that," and it got to the point that he realised he won't get in the team. So, but yeah, obviously with the Chelsea and all the people saying that he's such a talent, that's the confusing part of it. But yeah, I guess we'll never truly know unless we got to fly behind the FC Bournemouth walls and that. But they're good at keeping secrets, as we know. So
definitely. Malcolm has said, without speculation, he is well down the pecking order, so won't get the opportunities to play. Yeah, agree. Agree. He is some way down. He is, of course, in the forward line. Normally plays and can play on the flanks as well. The problem is to get into the side. You have well, here it's going to be very difficult for him. But I really would have liked to have seen him maybe get some time out on loan. See what he's all about. But if Andoni doesn't see it in him, and who knows? Who knows what could have happened? Maybe there's a personality clash. Maybe there's maybe Greece is going to be the best place for him. I'm
do you
just
know if there's
a
going to
bit
be a sell-on
gutted,
clause
really.
or anything like that?
I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope so. But I'm a bit gutted about this one. I'm a bit gutted because I would have liked to have seen him, you know, step up and maybe come off the bench, go on loan, be somebody for the future, be somebody that we can nurture and somebody that we can grow. And with the facilities coming, you know, would Zane Silcott Dewberry really want to be going to Greece over AFC Bournemouth? It's a little bit hotter in Greece, I mind, but at the same time, I personally, yeah, I think he probably would have wanted to stay here, state of the art. So I think it's more of the club decision. Who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe we'll
I
find
mean,
out one day.
I say as clubs get bigger and that, you're gonna players that come in, they're gonna have more and more trouble getting in the first team and that. But that's the cost of becoming a bigger club. You're gonna have those teams that players that back up and development and stuff like that, and they're gonna find it harder and harder to get in.
Mm.
But that's a good and a bad thing, depends the way you look at it.
Paul Santa's put a comment here. I've been trying to ignore it, but I'm not going to ignore it any longer. He's put Maradona, probably the best player ever to grace the game. Diego Maradona is a cheat. He doesn't like England very much, or didn't like England very much. We didn't like him very much. Ugh. But he was a bloody good player. And, of course, Hand of God was, you know, all right, I was very, very young when that happened, but I, for that sole reason, he is like the pantomime villain. I can't stand him, cannot stand him. However, Diego Maradona, a little bit like Thomas Frank with management. Thomas Frank, you know, we can't stand him, but he's a very good manager. Diego Maradona, can't stand him, but he's a very good player, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be quite controversial with the England team. I hope they lose most of the time because I'm half Welsh, so I do Bournemouth as my home team and Wales as my national team. So I don't really comment too much on um, supporting England too much. But yeah,
Do you know what? Nowadays, Sean, actually, I might have a look at, one of those charts. I don't think I've got any Welsh in me, which is really weird because, of course, I was born and bred on the M4 corridor. I know I've got a bit of Irish in me, but and I think I've got a bit of Scottish in me, but Welsh, I don't think I have. But I tell you what, if I have got some Welsh in me, I'm definitely taking up watching Wales because honestly, I'm quite envious, really.
oh, talking of Wales, though, a quick shout out to Chris Metham. Played,
Yes,
I think, 86, 88 minutes to help with their win. So,
yeah.
yeah. And did Keeper Moore score? I'm not sure.
Kiefer Moore did score the other day, didn't he?
I got a feeling he
Um,
did. So
yeah.
I can't look at the stats and that. But yeah, so yeah, Bournemouth players going to the Welsh squad, so it keeps me an eye on them.
Kiefer Moore did score in Kazakhstan.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah. Um, but yeah. Honestly, I think, being a Welsh fan must be exciting at the moment. Must be quite enjoyable. Um,
Yeah, we're getting closer to starting to become a more regular thing with qualifying.
mm,
So yeah,
yeah, and I
it's like
don't.
the women's
It,
team. We're getting closer and closer to that top level and that. So it's exciting times all around.
Wales and England, hasn't got that England Scotland feel. You know, I want to see Wales do well, whereas I just find it funny when Scotland go out, albeit you know, things have changed a little bit more since Ryan Christie's been playing for them. So yeah, sorry Ryan. Years ago it used to be so funny, but nowadays it's like, you know, it's we do support you. Don't worry. I'd like to see all the home nations do well. I think that's a historic thing now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we
it's a,
Mrs. does well. She supports England, so she's completely English and that. So yeah,
yeah,
she gets annoyed with me when I
it's a
speak
bit
about
like
England.
the
But
England Germany thing, to be honest. You know, in fact, I don't mind seeing Germany do well. I know that some people might go, "Oh no, that's terrible," as an Englishman, but in all honesty, I don't. I don't mind seeing Germany do well. In fact, Germany, whenever they do beat a team, they do it fairly, but everybody's just jealous because they're just so bloody good. Well, most of the time, it's kind of fallen off a cliff recently. Let's touch upon a player also who played for his national team. And Akin Bonney was part of the US under 20s team that recorded a nil-nil draw with Morocco on Sunday. So yesterday, I tell you what, Akin Bonney, I think he's another player who is going to be exciting for the future. But there has been rumours about his future at AFC Bournemouth as well. I've heard some murmurings and about Akinbody leaving the club. I think he's another player that we should keep hold of. And of course, signed at the same time as Zane Silcott Duberry, long way down the pecking order. In all honesty, I think Akinboni will be really, really good in the future.
Yeah, I don't really know with him and that, so don't really know any details. I didn't recognise the name, but that's about as far as it goes. But as I say, with all the development squad, hopefully we'll turn into Category 1. I think that's meant to be soon or something like that. And
Yeah.
then we'll also have the, what's it, the League Cup, whatever it is, the auto windscreen, whatever it is. So we'll have that extra competition and that, and then these development players, these fringe players, and that will have more games to play on, and then we can see them more. If we get into Europe, then that gives better options. But right now, whilst we've just got the Premier League, and certainly this season we just got the Premier League and the FA Cup, it certainly will restrict those development fringe players game time. I know Andoni likes to switch players and that, but we've got so many quality players, even as the backup on the bench.
Yeah.
Development players are going to really struggle currently.
I'm just having a little look, actually. You made me look at something there. It doesn't appear we are in the Papa John's Trophy, which, to be honest, is a bit of a shame, really.
No, 'cause there's only category ones, and then you have to apply, which
Academies,
we're not
yeah.
category 1 yet. So hopefully next season we'll be in it, whether it's called then auto windscreen, it's jump paint trophy. God knows what it's going to be next season.
I'm just trying to work out the teams that aren't in it. So there's us, there's Brentford, there's Sunderland, and there's Burnley. So every other team's academies are in there. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a dying competition until the latter rounds. I think when you look at the attendances of those games, it's very, very poor. But
It does give you a trip to Wembley at the end, though.
it does for one of these lower league teams, and you know it's always good to once we get our academy up, I would hope that we're invited into that, because it would just be good to see our players testing themselves against the very, very best that League One and League Two have got to offer. Let's just quickly go through the comments and we'll round up. How are England going to do tomorrow night? Who are we playing, Chris?
No idea.
I don't even know who we're playing. Are we playing Kazakhstan this time? Or I don't even know who we're playing.
I have no
Oh,
idea.
we're playing Serbia. Oh, well, we might be playing Milosevic. I think that's how you say it. Our new defender. We could be playing up against him. So yeah,
Bit
Serbia.
more of a challenging team.
Yeah, Serbia away. We are on 12 points. Serbia are right behind us on 7. I wouldn't be surprised if we draw in
Yeah,
Serbia.
go for a nice, exciting 0-0 draw.
Oh, yes. We're going to the Ratko Mitic Stadium. So, yeah, there we are. And that is in Belgrade. There we are. There we are. So if anybody's going, why the bloody hell have you wasted your money? Oh, Darren's put a very funny comment here. How an Argentine midget can beat a 6'3" Peter Shilton was the day I lost faith in refereeing. Yeah, it was just, he had to extend his arm to actually even put it over Chilton. He's just a cheat. He's just a cheat. There is all there is to it. He is a cheat. Wales are great to watch, says Paul from Oz. Yeah, to be honest, I'd rather watch Wales than England. Craig Bellamy's probably plays a bit more exciting football as well. Malcolm has said, good chance that Alex Scott will play for the under-21s this evening. Yes, hopefully,
Yeah.
fingers crossed. How far away is Alex Scott from the full team? I don't think he's a million miles away. But Alex is off to Kazakhstan. He's going to the and I do apologize to Borat and any Kazakhstanis who might be watching. Very nice. Um, we are going to the Ortalikyu Stadion. Oh, it's got another name as well. Pavlodar Central Stadium. That's probably a little bit easier. But yes,
This
it
is why you're
looks.
definitely the host. You can say these weird names. I can't. I got no chance.
It's the home ground of Kairat Almaty. Oh, that sounds very Borat. That's Borat's football team, isn't it? That's got to be Kairat Almaty. Number 2 journalist in all of Kazakhstan. Very nice. Malcolm's confirmed it's Serbia. I'll stop with the Borat impressions. We'll watch second half of Scotland tomorrow. Ryan Christie and, of course, Ben Gannon-Doak as well will be on the field at some point. Second half starts at 5:45 a.m. here. Oh, crikey. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
it's
enough.
too early.
Yeah, most definitely. And Darren Hurst said, if that was a goal against Bournemouth, VAR would still have allowed it. Yeah, no, without a shadow of a doubt. Everything seems to go against us. Hey, last season, if Dango didn't even, touch the ball with his hand and it was given as a handball. Um, and Paul from Oz has said, my thoughts completely, Darren. There we are. I think that's all we've got time for here at Cherry
Yeah.
AM. I better to go and do some work in a moment. But Sean, pleasure to have you on here as always. And yeah, we will definitely be doing this again next week at some point.
Yeah. I say, I'll go through the ladies' games, release their Saturday
Yes.
night properly, and yeah, I might even actually go to this one because me gran and granddad was obviously buried in Wales, and
Yeah.
I usually try to go there a couple times a year. So if I can get a dog sitter, which is going to be the challenge, yeah, I might actually go up to the Cardiff game. So yeah, and
Oh,
I know I
nice.
mentioned I gave a message to Ollie, and maybe he's interested as well because I know he's Wales based. I'm not sure exactly in
He
where in Wales.
is.
So yeah, there's a small chance that some of us might be there, but don't quote me on that. But yeah,
Excellent. Well, you'll see Ollie tomorrow anyway.
yeah. See
So
what he's up to for the weekend, next weekend.
yes, yeah, I've no doubt he'll be up for it because he always loves football. Any football, Ollie is there. But yeah, I'll be quite interested. You should do a vlog. You should do a vlog from there and we'll put it on the channel. You know, um,
Maybe.
what what
I don't
what
know.
was the team's
I have
name
enough trouble
again?
just doing the videos.
No, send it to me. I'll put it all up together. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching today. Do hit the like, subscribe, the bell button. If you haven't subscribed to us before, just quickly run through the last comments. Malcolm Chiverton says, thanks for the show, guys. Darren Hurst,
No,
have you seen the new offside rule? Now, any part of the attacker behind the last defender is onside. There we are. That's
I
something
don't
to
know. They keep
discuss.
changing it, and it
I'm
doesn't
getting
even make sense anyway.
confused.
Whatever it does.
Darren says, good show, guys. Thank you so much, Darren.
Thank you.
Paul from Oz says, thanks, guys. Chris Hubble says it was a great show by Cherry AM. And he said, thanks to Craig and Sean. And Sean,
Yep.
we will see you. Well, I will see you next week, but everybody will see you tomorrow with Ollie. So,
Yep.
yeah,
All
looking
right. Up
forward
the
to it,
cherries.
mate. Up the cherries. Like I say, hit like, hit subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.